You know that quiet, constant hum in the back of your mind? The one that's always telling you to do more, to optimize your career, your body, even your downtime? Well, that pressure to always be improving has become a huge part of modern life. And we're going to dive into why you are definitely not alone in feeling this way.
It really starts with a simple question like this one from Reddit, doesn't it? It just perfectly captures that feeling so many of us have. If you're not constantly leveling up, you feel like you're falling behind.
And wow, the responses just flooded in. This first one hits hard because it's so simple and so true. This constant push, it's not just motivating, it's absolutely draining. I love how this user put it. It's not just some fleeting thought, right? It's like this voice has moved into your head, unpacked its bags, and is just there all the time. And this right here gets to the emotional core of it. The pressure isn't just about a to-do list. It's that feeling of guilt whenever we choose to rest instead of hustle. So where is this all coming from? And, is it all bad? All right. So to really understand the problem, let's first take a look at the ideal. Because the drive to improve isn't inherently a bad thing. In fact, psychology has a name for the healthy version of this drive: self-actualization. The psychologist Abraham Maslow called this the highest human need. It's not about pressure, it's all about potential. It's this really natural desire to become your true self, not because you should, but because it's just part of living a fulfilled life. Now just look at the kind of person Maslow is describing here. A self-actualized person isn't some hyper-optimized productivity machine. They're comfortable in their own skin, accepting, independent, and compassionate. It paints a picture of inner peace, not some frantic race to an external finish line. But that's not what a lot of us are experiencing, is it? So what's going on? Well, it seems that healthy drive for growth has been twisted into something else entirely. We've kind of entered the era of what people are calling toxic productivity. And this right here is the crucial point. Toxic productivity takes that internal desire for growth and basically chains it to your sense of self-worth. It tells you that you are only as good as what you produce, what you achieve, and what you get done. Your value isn't just a given. It's something you have to earn over and over again. And you can really see the difference side by side here. Self-actualization is a pull from within. It's motivated by your own potential. Toxic productivity, that's a push from the outside, and it's motivated by guilt and feeling like you're not enough. One is a desire, the other is a relentless demand. And this quote, wow, it just perfectly captures what happens. Rest becomes almost impossible. Even your downtime gets viewed through this lens of optimization. Your brain just can't switch off because it's been wired to believe that any moment you're not improving is a moment you've wasted. So why is this happening now? Well, a big part of it is economic. After World War II, a lot of Western economies were pretty stable. You could get a job and, stay there for life. But today it's all about intense global competition. That puts constant pressure on companies to innovate, and that pressure trickles right down to employees to constantly adapt and stay current. The need to improve is no longer just personal, it's a professional survival skill. But that professional pressure is immense, and to cope with it, our culture has latched onto something that's actually kind of surprising: an obsession with positivity. We're always told to think positive, visualize success, and that a good attitude is all you need. But what if that coping mechanism is actually part of the problem? I mean, really think about it. In a world that demands constant growth, is relentless optimism really the fuel we need? Or could it be blinding us to reality? So get this, there's a really startling finding in psychological research called the sadder but wiser effect. It basically suggests that people with mild depression often have a more accurate view of reality than their super optimistic peers. And that idea just flies in the face of our positive thinking culture. And when you really start to dig in, the costs of unchecked optimism are huge. In companies, it can lead to groupthink, where nobody wants to be the one to bring up bad news. It causes the planning fallacy, where we just wildly underestimate how long things will take. And it fuels things like leader hubris and arrogance, where clear warning signs get ignored because everyone's just so confident that things will work out. Okay, so if relentless improvement is draining and relentless optimism is actually dangerous, where does that leave us? Well, the answer isn't to just become a pessimist. It's about finding a balance. It's about discovering the power of good enough. And this chart really shows the solution perfectly. It's called the inverted U-curve of adaptiveness. And what it shows is that our performance and our well-being, they don't peak at extreme optimism. No, they peak somewhere in the middle, in the sweet spot called the optimal margin of illusion.
This is a place where we're slightly positive, hopeful, but still totally grounded in reality.
So the big takeaway here is this: that little voice of doubt, that dose of realism you have in your head, that's not a sign of failure. It's actually an adaptive trait. It's what keeps us from making terrible decisions. It's what makes us double-check our work, prepare for setbacks, and ultimately succeed.
And that leaves us with one final, really crucial question to ask ourselves. The next time you feel that pressure to improve, ask yourself, are you genuinely trying to become more of who you already are, your true self? Or are you just chasing some idealized image of who you think you should be? Because the difference between those two, well, that's everything.